we carried his coffin through the streets of our area where we grew up, and he lived at the bottom of a hill. So we had to climb up the hill with this big cage fighting guy, and he had a good heavy casket, him and probably half a dozen of the toughest men of our area, the bald heads and, physiques. And we started to walk, and it was just an eerie silence, and we were just like talking to one another. Come on, yeah, let's get him home. And, you're trying to hold back the emotion, but you've got these tough guys who are walking that walk with you. And for me, the hair stood up on the back of my neck throughout the village because the streets were lined with people. The police had blocked the streets off, and we walked him up through the streets and walked him home. But unbeknown to us, because obviously we're at the front, there's just thousands of people behind him. And for someone who feels completely alone and feels that there's no one to turn to or to talk to or whatever else, how fitting is it that someone who has this process of mentally, that there's no one there or there's no one to speak to, has all these thousands of people who would have, each one of them probably give him an ear. So I don't want anybody ever, again, to ever feel they can't shout out. They can't share their vulnerabilities. They can't say, look, I'm struggling. Because the alternative doesn't even bear thinking about, and it's just imperative that men start to talk, that men start to show emotion and trust that people do care, that people do listen, that people do want to be part of that. I've seen the worst of life and I've seen the best of life. I've had the roller coaster journey, which, is all going to be unpacked and unpicked as we start to go on this process of and sharing some of these topics, the things that have happened to me, the things that I've done, the being part of, the criminal world, being part of professional sports, being as a young person, as the man that I am today, the relationships and problems that I've faced along the way, getting access to my children and going through all the assessments to enable that to happen, and also bringing in people who are my heroes, the addict that made it, the prostitute that's come off the street, the broken heart that's been mended, the inspirational person who has, made a difference to many people's lives, the unsung people, the ones who are not who you would deem a hero in the world standards, but in the standards of what this feature's about and what this podcast's about is they're the heroes of my life. They're the people that inspire me to go another day. They're the ones who I see those journeys in people and the redemption that comes over those lives. I see that daily, and I'm so honored and humbled to be part of people's lives who allow me to minister into their lives, into their broken parts, into those places of despair and destruction. For me, that is an honor that you can't put any kind of value on other than to see that transformation. It's just beautiful. One of my friends over in America says, Alan, the power is in the telling. And it's the story. This is my story, told my way, with my voice, my heart, to enable other people to see the hope, the opportunity, and the understanding that no matter what, there is the chance of a new and transformed life. You don't have to suffer in silence anymore. You don't have to cry into that pillar and feel alone and abandoned. You don't have to be rejected by those who love you the most.